I don't want to wear headphones. If he's not wearing headphones,
At least one person
then
does.
I'm not wearing a shirt.
Have you guys done this before?
I was just
like
going out.
10 podcasts.
I was just out for a walk, man. And he's like, come in for a second.
I live down the road, so they rolled me in, bro.
Fair enough.
Tony Montana.
Tony, go for it.
You starting it?
No, you start. That's the usual, isn't it?
Basically, a lot of people in the comments were saying that we're too jokey.
Yeah.
That we should take serious topics a bit more seriously.
Definitely. I think
So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening in the world. Brexit, Trump, Kashmir stuff, Modi.
getting honor and what was it? From the UAE.
UAE, yeah.
Yeah.
So if we're
They're
just like
serious.
joking around,
No. There's no
Then
time for
this-
jokes, bro.
you know what I mean? I mean, some people take everything as a joke.
They do. They built a career on it.
Yeah. I don't see how they can do that in good conscience.
Talk about Brexit again.
Oh, assalamu
Oh,
alaikum.
assalamu alaikum.
We have with us, mashallah, today's episode.
Avid Brexiteer.
And YouTube
Sensation.
personality,
Asian sensation.
Asian sensation.
Sensation. Yeah.
What's your
Bring
name again?
You don't need to know my name.
His name is Smile. No, his name is
That's not my
Zeeshan.
name, bro.
Zeeshan Jannat. Zeeshan.
Jannat wala, inshallah.
Jannat wala, inshallah ta'ala.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, Zeeshan.
Wa alaikum assalam.
How are you?
Alhamdulillah.
Are you comfortable?
No, not really. It's really hot here.
Is it the headphones?
It's everything, bro. It's very hot here.
This
It's very uncomfortable.
I'm quite.
That intro was
Really?
very dead.
It was dead. I'm quite really in South London.
Bro, you speak very slowly.
I know.
It's gonna
It's 'cause I've
drive
got
me
headphones.
How should the introduction be?
It's gonna drive me
tips.
insane.
Let's take some tips
Yeah.
from a pro, innit?
How should an introduction be to a YouTube video?
Is this a YouTube video?
It will be amongst many other things.
No, it's not a YouTube video. YouTube video is only about 10 minutes.
I swear I've seen longer ones.
No. They're not YouTube videos. They're tutorials or it's documentaries.
Okay, should we do a tutorial?
Let's just start.
How to do a YouTube video
Okay.
in 5 minutes.
We just record it, isn't it?
Okay.
And just speak about what you're passionate about.
Drinking water by the looks of
What are
it.
you
guys.
passionate about?
Me? What are you asking me for, bro? I'm passionate about. Everyone knows what I'm passionate about, bro.
Yeah, he's diva, innit? He's like, everyone knows me. I'm passionate about.
No.
I heard you're quite a big fan of Muslim Entrepreneur Network.
Fan?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't call myself a fan.
Did you make a lot of money with them?
Nah. Wouldn't
Actually,
touch them with a
can we
barge.
use their,
Do you do
can
that
we use
thing?
their name?
I would
Do
not
you
touch
do
them
it?
with a barge
Oh.
pole.
Can we use their name? Go ahead, just cut that out.
Of course you can.
No,
Okay.
you can't use
It's all
it,
about a
man.
warning.
Can't use the name and it's not
No.
kosher.
What? A bunch of Muslim entrepreneurs coming together in a network.
You can say it like that.
Yeah.
People will get what you're trying to say, but
All right. Yeah. No. Zeeshan, for your background, I do some work in Islamic finance.
be humble.
So,
You're
yeah.
not Wahid Finance, are you?
Nah. bro.
No disrespect to them.
Yeah. Go and carry on.
Yeah, they're good brothers.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I thought if you worked for them, it'd just be awkward, isn't it?
Why? Have you panned
Well,
them?
it's just clearly going to be a plug, isn't it? I'm clearly going to have to talk nice things about them.
No.
I'd like to thank our sponsors today. Just kidding.
No.
I don't think they like me that much. Any and wide invest any event that they're sponsoring, they always kind of accidentally say, "Oh, wide investors are going to be donating £10,000 for the prize for, any whoever gets this question right or whatever." So they always kind of get worried.
But do they ever mention the person's name who gets the question right?
Who?
Or is he anonymous whenever he does claim his prize?
I've never been in that situation. I've never won the money, so I can't say.
There was a nice Benz outside you rolled up in, mashallah.
Yeah,
Benz taxi.
Mercedes Benz.
This podcast dead.
I know, bro.
Can you tell us a joke?
Nah. There's no point. I'm just going to be wasted.
Got thing ready, man.
Go on, press one of those buttons.
No, you have to earn it, man.
What is it? What's the green one?
Tell a joke and you'll find out.
Tell the joke.
Should I tell
Islam.
the joke?
Wait. Islam 21C. That's the joke, bro. That's a Hadouken right there. You can special effect your way out of that, mate. But
Right, I'll tell a joke. What's ET short for?
who cares?
Because he got short legs.
I thought there was no instruments.
Smuddling.
Flipping heck.
Alright, when we start recording.
This equipment is wasted.
Gone.
So, tell us about yourself. South Londoner.
What do you want to know?
Farhan said he went to madrasa with you.
Yeah.
He was giving us some dirt on your history.
All right.
I thought
Maybe
I'd
you
give
should
you
have
an-
him on the podcast then,
I'll
isn't it?
give you a chance to introduce yourself before we talk about anything embarrassing.
Go on. Talk about the embarrassing stuff.
I don't know any. I was just
Oh.
trying to.
You're just
You've
trying
called
to,
my bluff now. So. Who are you? What do you do?
trying to ignite you. I am a person who makes videos on YouTube to do with Islam. I try to stay within the boundaries of Sharia as much as possible without using music, without free mixing, by using the medium of comedy.
Was the purpose da'wah, or was it getting a message out?
I think both of them are the same.
Really? Because you talk about
Getting a message out is dawah.
on political issues. So, for example, you did a.
I think that's dawah as well.
You think so? Okay, so when you did your video with George Galloway, for example, was there underlying da'wah, or was it da'wah indirectly? So, is in the purpose? Is it direct da'wah, or is it da'wah indirectly by being
direct
accessible?
and indirect. Both.
Okay.
Some videos will be very, very dilute.
Yep.
The message will be very dilute. Other videos will be slightly more concentrated. So in some of them, it's like I have this philosophy that you don't need to go around. You know those big hammers that you get from the fun fair?
Yep.
Those, you just blow them up and then you whack them on people's heads. There's no point, having like an Islam hammer and going around bashing people over the head. And, this is Allah said this, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said this. Thing is, unfortunately and sadly, nowadays when you mention, do you know, bro, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said, bro, the person switched off. Unfortunately, it depends what circles you're around. The circles that I'm around, the people that I'm trying to reach, they switch off. They're into like 15-second Vine videos or Instagram. Instagram used to have 15
Vine's still
seconds
around?
before. Vine, it's not around anymore, but the concepts transferred to Instagram,
Snapchat, and stuff.
and the way vlogs are done on YouTube, the concept's still there. Like
Yeah.
for 5 seconds, you're not going to see a video where a guy's just talking. But when you look at Islamic lectures, it's like 20 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour of just like 2 camera angles. If we're lucky,
Yeah.
bad sound. And it's just the way it is. So having a way where you're within the boundaries of Sharia,
Yeah.
but then you're not bashing the person over the head with it.
Okay.
But I could just be speaking to George Galloway, just asking his opinion on a few things. I'm not using music. People can see I'm a Muslim, I'm practicing. What else do I need to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You
how
see
to-
someone who's looks like him, identifiably Muslim. Normally, if you turn on the news or something, and you see, even if
Yeah.
he's wearing a shalwar kameez or thobe and a hat and stuff, you'd think automatically he's going to be talking about. The news is,
But aren't you preaching to the converted almost? Because you're so overtly Smile2Jannah, have an Islamic message in some of them. The two can't be disconnected. So it's like, well, okay, we accept him as he is and he's talking about some of this stuff versus doing something that people don't associate with Islam and then they realize that there's a positive message behind it.
You've got loads of these people that they could be either affiliated with the religion,
Yep.
or overtly practicing. The Dalai Lama, people still take from him, even though he preaches Buddhism. You've got Sadhguru, he
Yep.
clearly preaches Hinduism, but people still take from him. You've got other famous celebs like Jay Shetty.
Yeah.
He openly professes to be a yogi, was it? A monk.
Yeah, don't get me started, man. On him. Yeah.
No, but the question you said was,
Yeah.
just because you're affiliated with a religion doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to get other crowds.
Yeah, so I'm asking.
I mean, that's why I mentioned their names. I'm not talking about whether I agree with them or not, but
so who do you say your audience is? Is it the kind of Muslim crowd, non-practicing
primarily
Muslim crowd?
it's the Muslim crowd, but with regards to the topics that are being spoken about, it depends. If I'm talking about the far right, like back in the days, I'd talk a lot about Tommy Robinson and the far right, so I'd get a lot of far right people coming in. Nowadays, with the whole Kashmir crisis, there's a lot of Hindus coming in.
Yeah.
When I'm talking with regards to Khabib and Nurmagomedov, then I get the MMA community coming in. If I'm talking about Mo Salah, I get the Liverpudlians coming in. It depends what I'm talking about. If I'm talking about Robin Williams committing suicide, then I'm going to get his fans coming in. So yes, primarily it will be Muslim based upon my appearance, but it's not restricted to the Muslim community. That's
if the purpose is dawah, how do you know that it's been successful? Or is it that, alhamdulillah, you're good at something that you do, so it's easier to then bring that into other videos and talk about things that you want to talk about? How do you know it's a successful form of dawah versus giving dawah in the other ways? Because are we now pandering to the time and the people that we're in? So we're making the dawah reflect them, and have we lost our purpose of giving dawah as it should be given? If that's, I think
there's two questions.
Yeah, of course, sorry.
I think the first one you're saying is, what was the first one?
How do you know this form of dawah is successful?
Well, with regards to social media, there's instant statistics that you can see straight away.
Yep.
Yeah, you get instant feedback, literally live.
Yeah.
So in that sense, you upload a video, you can check by the amount of views it's got, you can check by the likes, you can check by the feedback, you can check by how people are reacting. Nowadays on YouTube, people will react to your videos, some people will re-upload your videos, some people will share it on various platforms. On Facebook, you can track how many people have shared it, how many views it gets. Like on Facebook, I know I don't get that many views, but if I upload a video, if it does get a lot of views, like last few, like every now and then, every other week, alhamdulillah, video will do well. I know it's not done through my page, it's been shared.
Yeah.
Like the like the Modi one.
Yeah.
Like the Khabib one, like the Mo Salah one. You can tell by the numbers, you can tell by the feedback people instantly leave. So I meant the instant feedback is just.
But from a dawah perspective, if we're saying the purpose is dawah,
that's why I said from the start that you keep it within the boundaries of Sharia.
Yeah.
Like within, I'd say, the first 15, I'd say about first 15 odd years. MashaAllah, I went to the madrasa. MashaAllah, listen to the parents, learn the deen, stay around scholars. You do all that, and MashaAllah, that's good. But then you got to do something with it. You know what I mean? Like at that time, I realized that, MashaAllah, I'm here now. I'm in a masjid where even when we speak to each other, we're preaching to the preached.
Yeah.
You're in the masjid. They've already come to the masjid. Yeah. What about the people that aren't in the masjid? So how do you reach them? Well, in order to do that, everyone's got a phone. You look at the bus stop, everyone's got their head down. You look in the bus, you look outside. Whenever someone's standing, even family gatherings, whenever there's an awkward silence, you see people just pull out their phones. So if people have their phones, how do you tap into that? They're telling you how to tap into that.
So
go through the phone, the social media.
Yeah.
You go through the social media, but then that's where your question now applies. What do you do? How do you do it? That's why I started off by saying you stay within the boundaries of the Sharia. You make sure that you're not transgressing any of the laws, but you just change your style. Yeah. Rather than a preacher style where you're just sitting and preaching, you can see within the practices of the Prophet where sometimes he'd be walking, he'd be walking, he'd see something, and then he would use that as a kind of bouncing off point. And that's what I try to do with some of my videos. Okay, this Connor's done this with Khabib. Okay, how can I use that? Okay, he talked about Jahannam. Yeah, in one of his tweets he tweeted, I think on Instagram he said chilling in Jahannam. So if you upload a lecture just titled Jahannam, no one's going to watch that. Yeah. But if you link it with Connor and then you bounce off that, that's clever dawah. You know what I mean? It's clever, but our people, when I say our people, I don't mean to generalize, but I mean generally speaking, it's very black and white. Either you're in a masjid and a member with a beard and a topi preaching, or you're going to be with music with a girl like saying mashallah after every week or so, like a Bollywood actor, or inshallah.
Do you have like a plan for yourself that what you wanna, what themes you wanna get across, what like a lesson plan, maybe like this week I want to focus on XYZ, or these messages that I want to get out through whatever medium it is? Or do you just kind of respond to whatever's happening?
The thing is, when you're comfortable with yourself and your own identity, like I said, for 15 years, alhamdulillah, you sit with scholars, you learn, you make your foundation solid, you know right from wrong. You don't have to do that for the rest of your life. Like when you're comfortable, everybody needs a way to express themselves. And the only way your channel or your project's going to be successful is if you make it a part of your personality and you don't overthink it and you don't overdo it. Become your project. Like I'm coming here, like you guys saw me on the phone. I wasn't scrolling through my social media. I was literally planning for my next video. I thought, let me do some screenshots. Let me get my research ready. I'm going to have to go. I'm going to have to do this. That's what you do. And it's not a source of burden. It's a source of honor. Because alhamdulillah, with the barakah of the ulama, you understand, mashallah, the importance of da'wah and all of that. Some people, I understand, they're not at that level yet, but I'm talking about myself. Alhamdulillah, I understand that, I appreciate that, and I felt an honor that I was given a platform in which I could reach people that don't come to the masjid, and I can be accepted within that.
Have you faced any criticism? And from which quarters? And I'm not talking about the non-Muslims, from say within the practicing crowd for your stuff.
I'll come to that, but I think your point. Just remind me your point, because you asked a good question, but I didn't reach the.
I don't know. Sounds like something I'd do.
Easy. The question I'd asked before was, are we reflecting? I don't think we covered that. Was, are we pandering to the people, and in terms of the dawah that we're giving them?
Oh, you have to. You have to pander to the people.
That's always a threat now in today's day and age.
But you have to have a limit, though.
Yeah. I mean,
as long as you're not
who's calling the shots here, isn't it? That's the kind of that does a dog wag the tail, or the tail wag the dog.
It's customers always right in that sort of thing, but no. That's why I made the point clear at the start that it has to be within the bounds of Sharia. Like you're not going to see a scholar doing a sketch or whatever, but doing a sketch isn't wrong. So if people watch sketches and they're amused by sketches, I mean, if you're going to reach more people, why not? Because the shots are called by the Sharia. If there's leeway, if there's give, go ahead, go for it. Like with podcasts, this wasn't a thing over a year ago. This wasn't a thing. Now it is. I mean, you guys are pandering to the thing, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. You're seeing that, mashallah, a lot of work has been done by the trend. You're jumping on the train so your message can reach the people quicker. If you just called it a speech with Smile2Jannah, that's dead. You know what I mean? But when you title it podcast...
It's not finished yet, bro. There might still be some opportunity for it.
But sorry. So your question, your recent one was?
The last question was in terms of criticism. So like keeping within the Sharia, have you faced any criticism from within the Muslim quarter?
100%.
Really? What sort of stuff? Because generally, mashallah,
every single video. I'll upload I just recently did one with Khabib,
Yeah.
Using a voice-only track. People will be like, sending files and sending links. Oh, this scholar said even beatboxing is haram. Then you use a voice only track. Oh, they said even using this is haram, and this is so you get away with that. Then there'll be you use a wig. Oh, but using human hair.
You used a wig.
I used a wig. Well, you're clearly using a wig now. That can't be real.
Thank you.
But what I'm saying is there's.
Mashallah.
Astaghfirullah. Mashallah. Allahumma barik. But in that sort of sense, bro, I just recently uploaded one on Khabib, and someone goes, bro, don't talk about MMA. You're not qualified to talk about MMA. And then I uploaded one on the UAE.
But what are your MMA credentials, though?
Yeah, come man, I'll show you.
Right, we're gonna have a break now for a couple of minutes, and I'll let you know who won.
Are they allowed?
That was good timing.
Yeah, no.
It took you too long to use that, but I haven't given you any chances to use it.
Yeah.
Should have used it with the hair.
I thought that was a little mashallah moment.
Have you? I mean,
so yeah, every video, bro. Every video there'll be something.
Yeah.
I'll make a joke and somebody be like, bro, don't mock that person. It's like, bro, wasn't that a lie? Bro, I don't like the way you laughed. Bro, don't do this. Every video, bro. But
that's good for your metrics, though, isn't it? Because if they're vexed and they engage with the video and they write a comment, the algorithm that's deciding.
That's one way of looking at it.
Show it to is just helping them. So
yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. If you really don't like this podcast, just be silent. Just ignore it.
Just leave a hate comment so we can get more views.
Yeah.
Not stay silent, bro. That's the opposite.
There's alhamdulillah.
Yeah,
there's been there's been quite a few I guess social media personalities who've kind of crossed over to the mainstream. Have you had the opportunity, or is it something that you've thought about, or has it come your way?
No, not really, because I think I'm quite an outwardly orthodox, and I make it very clear in my videos, my sort of boundaries that I wouldn't cross. Okay. So it's not really compatible with mainstream. Like, I'm not going to go on the BBC and be like, yeah, it's got to be voice only tracks, mate. And that sister, she's got to be covered. Like, they know which of the people are willing to bend and which people aren't.
Yeah.
With some people, they do bend them, and they
crossed
don't.
over into the LGBT segment.
Follow on from that, so talk about muscle, but if you took the muscle out, those who do take that journey.
I mean, there have to be people who take different journeys, though, isn't it? So it's good that you're kind of holding the fort, being extra careful, as careful as possible, as orthodox as possible. But
I guess the foundation is important. Yeah. Alhamdulillah, like I said, I had that good foundation with a household that kind of raised me well, and with scholars. I spent time with them. There might be certain people watching, they might be like, oh, we're too practicing, or people that aren't practicing, but then they're like, we want to give dawah, dawah. But if you want to give dawah, if you don't have that foundation, you're gonna cross over. And trust me, sometimes you end up doing such content, and when you do cross over in some aspects, bro, it's hard. Like, the deen's becoming so dilute, people find excuse for anything and everything. So as long as your feet are solid, you got to bend the people. Like Khabib, bro, mashallah, tabarakallah, he's got a thing. Like, he doesn't bend when it comes to certain things. And
doesn't tap out.
Yeah, he makes other people tap out.
But he's operating in their arena, and he's holding on. So this is, I guess, kind of linking to what you're saying, is that preaching to the preached versus going into mainstream with that intention. Isn't there an argument to do that?
So that's an argument for not necessarily having a foundation, but being linked with currently
I guess with the mainstream nowadays is you have to be called into the mainstream, because if you as a practicing person reach out to the mainstream, you're going to be pandering to them.
Yeah.
And when then they approach you, it's the other way around, and that's the only way I personally see it working. If they approach you,
become too loud to ignore.
Yeah, exactly. But then certain people, like you got rappers like Low-Key and Akala, they're never gonna. Low-Key's never gonna be allowed into the mainstream because of the sort of subject matters he touches upon. If you look at me in my last 10 videos, I've covered most of those topics. Standard.
Yeah.
The topics that get people banned, I've covered it already. You know what I mean?
So for over your however many videos you've done, how many have been serious versus comedic?
Probably all of them, isn't it? A touch of humor and then serious stuff.
Yeah, depends. Like, certain videos, 75% might be serious, 25% might be comedy. In others, it might be 50-50. Like I did with the Modi when he went to the UAE and Bahrain to get his medals. Like, everyone knows that, everyone's cheesed off by that. But I just found the funny bits and just memed it a bit.
Yeah.
and then just had a very simple dilute message at the end, with a very a nas, I don't know what you call it, like a an integral kind of route just going through it, or like the vagus nerve, from the brain to the heart to the brain. So it's that integral thing is that message of
narrative.
The message that I'm trying to get across is, unless countries sideline their money and put the ummah forward, there's not going to be any change. We know that principle, it's widely there, but I knew that video, alhamdulillah, would do well because of the comedy aspect, and then to have that at the end, sometimes people need to hear that. But if you just put a video out there, and pray for Kashmir, do this, or you're like, flipping heck, mate, you know what I mean? Like, all right, I'm praying, man. Like, I don't want to see 20 videos a day of people getting maimed. You know what I mean? I just finished watching the Palestine videos, before that the Syria videos, and now you got the Kashmiri, like, I get it. So there needs to be a kind of clever aspect of getting certain things across, like Daily Show. Trevor Noah, brilliant. It's smart. And this is why none of my videos are copyright. In fact, I encourage that. There was this another YouTuber came out, Way of Life SQ. He's mashallah big on Instagram, and I saw him doing well. Alhamdulillah, made me very happy, and I wanted to promote the brother. And I'm constantly telling other people, they're like, tell me your sound effects and this and that. Well, I'm like, here's my sound effects. I put in one video, the one that said my last video. I said, it's there, it's free. Take my sound effects. Take the voice only tracks. Just get something done. Get it done. But people just don't want to get it done. That's the thing. That's the honest truth. Like, I should really be vying for attention. But it's like I'm the only one pretty much doing what I'm doing, not using music, talking about the issues, with alhamdulillah, a decent enough production. But people, they're mashallah doing well. Mashallah, think about it. Nowadays, we save money in terms of cooking. We got a microwave, toaster, kettle, and then on the phone, calculator, you can check the bus time. You don't have to stand there waiting 10 minutes. You can program things on your phone. You save all of that time. If you calculate the time technology saves for you, what are you doing with the extra 2 hours in the day?
You're probably just scrolling along your endless
You're on Netflix.
timeline.
You're on Netflix. That's what you're doing. You're on Netflix, or you're just wasting time, being depressed about some relationship that you shouldn't have been in, and just listening to music or a film just to pass the time. But then that further exacerbates your emotions, because if you're going through a breakup, and then you listen to a music track, and then that music track, you're like, this guy. No, it doesn't, because that person's actually gone through a breakup, a proper breakup. Your breakup was dead. But when you listen to a proper breakup, your mind is telling you, that's what we're going through, but we just didn't realize that. So that situation now, becomes worse. And you listen to another track, you watch a movie, and they're going through like Devdas, and you're like, he died for his thing, and he loves his paro, and he does all of this. And then, but your thing was dead, like you met in a shisha lounge, and then now she's found someone else, and then now you're putting Imran Khan songs on, and you're like, Bewafa, innit? So, but the reality is, it wasn't that deep for you. But you want someone to validate that, and you're like, it is deep for me. And you just make it worse for yourself. Time passes. And then the rest of your time, because you're on social media, your reality has just become reduced to emojis, and you don't even communicate. Even your words are shortened. So when you are in a relationship, that's not going to last. And then you just spend your time on Netflix or whatnot. You can't go to the masjid because you don't have that relationship. So what do you do? So the point that I'm trying to say is not just to leave you in that kind of void. It's that, like an IKEA cupboard, if you make a wrong turn, you put a wrong screw in, even if you go 3 steps ahead, you're not going to be able to move forward. So you have to unscrew that. And then you have to realize what the problem is. And the problem is, you have to fix your relationship with Allah, then Allah will fix your relationship with the people.
But another point I wanted to ask you is, look, alhamdulillah, if people, resonate, what you say resonates with them, and they understand that there's a void, a real void, and the emotions that they're feeling are quite superficial, really. So it gets plugged a little bit by all these superficial things around them. Perhaps they listen to one of your videos, or watch one of your videos, or from somewhere else, they feel a reawakening or a reconnecting with Allah Azza wa Jal. The way our masajid are set up at the moment, do you think they're able to cater for the people? Or you're trying to have this message now, but you're not taking them the whole way. You're just trying to spark something in them.
Yeah,
really,
I'm just a
isn't it?
gateway.
Yeah. Now, you're a gateway to where? And are our masajid and institutions able to manage what comes through it, the production line?
I think that's been talked to death, to be honest. I think a lot of effort is being made, but in some situations I feel it's too little too late, in the sense that there's a lot that's happened with the youth, and yeah, these projects happen, but they happen like once a month, or there's a talk, but again, a talk and snooker and, you know, pizza afterwards from the local Asian shop isn't gonna cut it. But alhamdulillah, I do think it's brilliant. It's more than used to happen in my time, in my area. I know in some areas they work very hard and they are doing a good job. In some areas they need to do more.
You're a South Londoner, right?
Yeah.
So how long have you been in the area?
Born and bred.
How long is that?
Kingsmill.
What is your age?
None of your business.
Where's
that Hadouken, mate?
Not yet, no.
This is...
It didn't hurt that much. Something that hurts, I'll give you a Hadouken.
But
for the
look,
crickets.
So I mean, I'm trying to gauge here. Like, do you have any? And I'll ask this to a lot of people. Do you have any opinion or ideas about what the trajectory is for young people vis-a-vis the Muslimness and its attachment to Islam? Like, you know, are things getting better? Are things getting worse? Because, you know, I speak to a lot of youth workers, and some of them are very kind of pessimistic.
I mean, if you look at
about the
if you look at the chart, yeah. Normally in science, what you do is you get loads of these crosses, yeah, and then you look at the line of best fit. I think the line of best fit would be going downwards. Yeah, that goes without doubt. I think that was since the Prophet ﷺ passed away. Yeah, the line is going down. We know that. Yeah, but we can slow down the line. We can have certain trajectories that come out of the line. Like, it doesn't mean it has to go down straight away. It could be down and then up and then down. Like,
you're talking like kind of a broad, long kind of eschatological scales. I mean, in your lifetime, do you think
in my
things
lifetime
are improving for Muslims in your area, or
in my lifetime, bro? I think of it like this. That's why I got into dawah. I wouldn't have been doing dawah if I thought everything was fine. In fact, I was an introvert. And I was very uncomfortable. Secondary school was very rough for me. Being out of people's faces was ideal. But then when I noticed dawah wasn't reaching the right people, you had all of these people, not going to mention certain names, but certain Asian YouTubers were doing well for the wrong reasons.
yeah.
And I was like, all right, people are complaining, but who's putting content that's gonna take people that come off his content or her content, whoever it may be.
Yeah.
So, but no one was doing that. So I felt obliged to do that. And even now, I want people, because I don't know, I'm getting old, grey hairs popping out. And you know what? There needs to be more people out there doing these things. So in terms of, in my area, are things becoming worse? They are becoming worse. That's why I'm doing dawah. But do I think things are going to be better? Yes. That's why I'm doing dawah, with the hope that they become better. And I have firm belief that, and this is what I pray, that, oh Allah, if things are going to become bad, don't let it happen in my lifetime, or in my children's lifetime, or if my children are there or I'm there, at least don't let it happen around me, such that the deen is not disgraced around me. Because I feel that the power of dua is such that, you know, the line can be slowed. Or if a building's on fire and there's like 800 people in there, even if I save 100 people, or I work hard and I save 200 people, 300 people, it's possible. I could even go for 4. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? Like, you get these people that come and they just shake the world. And then after the shake, I mean, even prophets, when they pass away, the world goes mental. Then Allah sends another prophet. There's 124,000 prophets approximately.
I'm going to say this actually. Look, born and brought up in South London as well.
Bruh.
Yeah. Representing. Yeah. I was going to say this. Look, even though we may see generally that people aren't as practicing as they used to be, I don't think that's the case now. Though we've seen people overtly look a lot more practicing now. When I was growing up, versus
Substance, bro.
Yeah, so this is what I was going to say to you.
Yeah, but that's
so where's the change?
But that's
where's
for people.
happen?
Yeah, that's for people who value the symbols rather than the kind of impetus for the symbols.
Style of substance, huh?
Yeah, exactly. So in that sense, I would say, so what if a person's got a beard, but if there's no substance behind the beard, I don't mean it in a disrespectful sense.
Yeah.
But I mean it in the sense that, okay, if someone's got a beard, but they've just hurt someone or they've just committed a murder or whatnot, you're not going to say, oh, the person's got a beard. That beard's not going to help them from the crime they've committed.
Or something.
No, I'm a Muslim,
Yeah.
a Muslim with a beard, who's grown it for the Sunnah. But if the person's committed, he's drinking or doing something haram, I'm not going to say, yeah, that beard suddenly makes it okay.
But something's happened along that way in that journey, because when we were younger, in my teens or late teens, you wouldn't have that propensity to grow a beard because you knew it's so strongly correlated to being practicing. But people today do want to. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
they do
that's a
grow.
very good question.
And then the language of people now, you'll see ak has become part of the modern vernacular.
Yeah. Even non-Muslims use it.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's because back in the days, bro, the indoctrination of materialism wasn't as severe. So if you were practicing, like people, if you would like wear the attire or have a beard, people would know this person's practicing now. Yeah. But now it wasn't fashion back in the days to have a beard and shalwar kameez. No. Now, because of the people that have embraced Islam, but again, to what degree? Some have left, some have only embraced a certain percentage of it. So again, because the indoctrination of materialism and the sexualized society has increased dramatically, and that's affected the soul. So from within, the disease is now spreading. Whilst before it would be from the outward, now it's coming from the inside.
What are the causes of that, you reckon?
Yeah, like I said, materialism, hyper-sexualized society,
instant gratification.
Oh yeah, 100%. Instant gratification from the social media.
That sounds like
from
a lot of the kind of negative aspects of the devices we're talking about and the social media, networks we're talking about that are being used for dawah and like your channels and even a Sub 21.
You get to the point, mate.
That's the point.
Good cop, bad cop.
Yeah. No, but I mean that there must be
Don't start the point again, please, bro.
There must be a discussion to be had, though. Are we making the problem worse by putting?
Were you in essence trying to say we've talked about the negative, but are there positives? Is that what you're trying to say?
I mean,
okay.
There's.
Oh, are we making it worse by contributing?
These devices, right? I believe personally, I've said this before, that I think ulama fuqaha in maybe 100 years' time are going to think, why did it take you guys so long to realize this is completely destructive to, society? If the machines haven't killed us by then, whatever.
It's like what I was saying, bro. When I was in the masjid, with the scholars, mashallah, good lectures happening, good speeches happening, and the truth was being spoken. How do you reach the people outside? That's where the question stems from. How do you reach them? So the only way you can reach them is from something that's already established. So you're not really contributing to the spread of it in that whole foundational aspect.
It's a bit of a double-edged sword, though. You remember this thing, book Entertaining Ourselves to Death? Or this, it was kind of, sent shockwaves that looking at in the American context, this is like 50 years ago. If someone from then looked here, they should go crazy. Like just the way news reportage, for example, had changed, right? So they looked at technical things like 3.5 seconds per scene. You have to keep changing what's displaying on your screen and keep people's attention. And the level of discourse and the level of people's thinking was going down, and as a result, right? And fair enough, you can on this kind of sinking ship, we can jump on and try and save people, but maybe there's something we're missing.
I think there's a point.
Saving people from that ship in the first place.
There's a point. It's like AI. AI is a good example. Yeah. At the moment, AI hasn't developed. Yeah. So for people to be jumping on the ship of AI doesn't make sense, because we know that ultimately AI is not going to be something that's the harms are going to outweigh the positives. There's enough evidence out there, enough experts have spoken. Ray Kurzweil, you got Elon Musk, loads of people have come out, and it's well established. The harms are well established. So you're at the stage of AI where it can be avoided or it can be slowed down or reduced. So don't contribute to it. But now when AI is established, it's there, it's used, you're gonna have to use it, otherwise you're out
Like a
of that.
Muslim AI.
Well, there are
Muslim
going to be
AI,
Muslim AIs, bro. There's, if you look at what's there, I done an entire podcast on it, bro, and I did about under a year ago, bro. If I look at the research that's there now, there's a lot. That research is pretty much abrogated. And I mean, if our dialogue would be different if we were speaking to world leaders and speaking as world leaders, it would be different. Because their way of thinking needs to be different, because they're thinking from a global perspective. We thinking from a micro perspective. If something's already established and you're still debating, are you contributing to that? Like you making an Instagram channel or not. And that's why Mufti Menk, Nauman Ali Khan smashed it. They came at an ideal time. They were ahead of the curve, and mashallah, they spoke and with such an angle, with such a balance that they reached the people that needed to be reached. Now other people are trying. No, Jazakallah. Now other people are trying to reach that, but it's too late.
So here's a question for you, Zeeshan. Sorry, this is something I am.
Did you just say sorry to the mic?
Yeah, no, for the noise. Something I contend with a lot in Islamic finance.
That's British values there.
Exactly, alhamdulillah. Within Islamic finance, when people are looking at structures, etc., and they'll make something halal, right? And the question I was asked them is, would you do this in perfect conditions in an Islamic environment, for example? Would this structure still be the same?
Yeah.
If that makes
Is
sense.
this the norm or the exception?
Of social media?
No. So I'm talking about Islamic finance now. So this is how my sort of litmus test. So for example, if somebody comes up with an Islamic finance product, I say, is this the product as it would be under perfect Islamic conditions? Or have you made allowances because of the situation, the time,
exceptional circumstances, or is it
exactly?
The norm?
Yeah. Would you run your various social media videos, etc., in another time, in another place, do you think?
I'm guessing no.
It depends. Most of the videos.
Exactly.
But the medium, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking maybe somewhere along our line of our objectives for dawah is to eventually wean people off these platforms. Because I feel it's genuinely making people dumber. You know, I can't help but think there's some kind of sinister plot behind this.
There is always a plot. We've been told about the plot. It's in the Quran and the Hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The shaitan's plot. I mean, it's there. It sounds a bit cliche, but you know what I mean?
Just making people, just the impact, just Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, Facebook. It has just on your attention span, for example.
100%.
This doesn't build people who can lead the world. It builds kind of just zombies who are just.
But then, how do you get to these zombies then?
But so you get to the zombie through the medium. But is your aim to keep them in that medium and become the biggest guy in that medium, or to have eventually having your message say, you know what?
You can never be the biggest guy in the medium.
No.
Take this medium seriously.
You can't be the biggest guy in the medium.
Yeah,
you
even
don't
if you
use
can't.
music when you're not using women.
Even if you can't.
If I use a woman in a bikini on my thumbnail, bro, that's guaranteed 200,000 views. If I shorten my beard, if I have a certain type of hairstyle, I know, bro.
Yeah, that's not the point. Even if you're like number whatever 1,007th, the point is part of our dawah strategy, should it involve weaning people off these devices and these platforms?
I wouldn't want to limit anybody. But the problem is when someone's doing a certain type of dawah, they want to put other people's dawah down. Like you got certain people, mashallah, that are not mentioning any names, but you got certain brothers that are very political orientated.
Umer and Salman.
Some
people just love cussing entrepreneurs.
No, they're like political based, and that's where their rhetoric comes from. So they'll cuss ulama. They're talking about fiqh issues all the time, but then you got ulama that
it's such a cliche,
constantly talk about fiqh issues, and then they're like, but people aren't talking about fiqh issues, and they're talking about this and that. But we need to be focused about this. But then you got some people that are giving dawah to Muslims. You got some people that are giving dawah on stalls with.
Do you think it's academic arrogance also coming into this, Zeeshan? Right, that some people think because. And I hear this sometimes.
Naturally, anyone who's involved in something, they're going to look at everything through their lens.
I wouldn't say academic.
You're going to think
arrogance.
through a financial lens or whatever.
I'll tell you why I say that, because people say, something's only worth its weight if it's written down and you've got articles and citation, etc. Do you understand that you present an argument like that?
For that, I would say saying the word academic is giving it too much respect. I'd say it's arrogance. Yeah, you got certain people that they hand out material on dawah stalls. They look down on other people. You got certain people that, mashallah, PhD doctors, they do really well, mashallah, but they can't communicate to the people that need that information.
You need people who are specializing in those areas as well. But the point is, I mean, our kind of ethos, our ethos as an organization is, and many people who we look up to and follow their kind of guidance and set an example. It's to encourage people to bring all of these things together. So not just remain in your silo. Yeah, if you're a specialist in Islamic finance or whatever, you're a specialist of
specialist of being an OG.
Yeah, OG, original OG, mashallah.
Put that sound on, bro.
I don't have a okay.
There we go.
There you go. Da, 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 da. So people can be specialized, but the point is not to
everyone.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Close to.
But that shouldn't be your starting point, though, Salman. That shouldn't be your starting point. People start with, I want to do this, and so it's okay for me to do X, Y, and Z. They start in the wrong place.
Exactly.
I think the problem with that isn't just the ambition. The problem is them doing that without any guidance Islamically, because phrases like this, the ends justify the means. These are kind of slogans from a tradition not of ours, right? And it's weaponized.
It's like
sometimes.
Punisher, isn't it? That's his kind of motto.
It's weaponized by people who have
and that was weaponized by the white supremacists. That sign is used. So you saying that you have a foundation, people your age may have that foundation, but a youngster watching,
not necessarily myself, but we want to encourage young brothers and sisters to have ambitions and so forth.
But I wouldn't say that ends justify the means.
They don't have to wait for having a foundation themselves, but be close to people with a foundation.
But that is foundation.
Yeah, that's keeping you grounded.
Because people of knowledge are giving you the foundation. They don't have
to wait until they have a foundation. They can if they have a relationship with someone already. But
that's what I'm saying.
They're not.
The two are linked.
Have that much knowledge and so.
What is a foundation? Foundation is having knowledge. How do you get knowledge? You get knowledge from books, but that's not enough.
To knowledge.
But
access to
exactly
people of knowledge.
So that if you have access to people of knowledge, you're around people of knowledge, that is your foundation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But someone might think that means I need saying foundation means that I need to have some knowledge myself.
So you're just clarifying
like that. Yeah. Because we don't want because there's a type of mindset, the type of person, or the type of interest and skill set that goes into talab al-ilm, for example. Seeking knowledge.
You get certain
people. You don't
people.
want just those people.
Yeah, there's certain people that say, I need to do this, and this. Only then will I finally be ready for dawah. Yeah, that's the other extreme.
And if they do, there's a question mark on that anyway. Like
the suitability.
Because they a lot of people, unfortunately, they end up going in silos, don't have any connection with the broader Muslim community or people in knowledge and so forth.
Yeah, I go up north, bro. There's mashallah amazing brothers. You go to the masjid, pack out, bro. I think one time I was there and I just finished praying and I was like, you pray your sunnah and you're like, nah, I'm not feeling the nafal. You try leave, you look back, there's not a single person that's moved. And they force you and you literally there, you're like, I'm clearly not going anywhere. Might as well get that reward and make my Jannah bigger. Thanks a lot.
Fire exit looks like he's got an alarm on it. I'll just stay here.
Just lean on the door slowly.
So in that sense, mashallah, a lot of potential there. But again, it's like when people say, oh bro, how comes you don't come up north? I don't want to.
It's not a very nice place.
It's a brilliant place, but it makes you too relaxed. You feel that Deen, mashallah, has reached everywhere and you got Muslims everywhere and you're just too relaxed, too comfortable. When you're here, you see, the kind of real, when you're in London.
Chalk face, man.
Yeah, man, you're here, you can see everything. Like every week there's something going on. Yeah, so you're here in the midst of it. So if you're able to survive, mashallah, survive and help other people. Otherwise, get out of it, dust, go. But up north, it's the whole thing that, don't do this. And they're so rigid up there. Not all of them. I got a lot of love for them, but I can't live there because I've just become too lazy.
I got a lot of love for Watford as well.
It's a nice place. EastEnders. Is that an EastEnders reference?
Yeah. Watford, up north.
Oh, that's Walford.
Walford, yeah.
All right. What do you do for a day job? I heard you're a teacher. So
you heard right.
They let you near kids.
One tick.
It kind of doesn't instill that much trust in the system. Then you'd have to do some kind of checks or
where's
YouTube
that
checks
cricket sound, bro?
What is it with teachers and comedians? What is it with teachers and comedians? Is there some sort of link there?
Actually, no, don't be so rude. We're trying to get him on in the future.
No, you know what, that's a good question, because there's a few teachers. When you said that, I was actually picturing. I was like, yo, there are a few teachers that have gone in the comedy route. It's because it's so dynamic. It's such a dynamic job, and you're literally there in front of a class, and you have to make them laugh. You have to make them scared. You have to take them on a emotional.
Changed, man.
Has it? Scared was
Making them laugh and scared. And
yeah, you have to take them on an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
You have to give them all those emotions. You have to use all the psychology that you've learned and say, okay, I'm within these four walls. How do I take this child to Paris? How do I apply this psychological theory of using emotions to teach this child? Because I know he's going to forget Pythagoras theorem. He's not going to use it. I mean, let's be frank. So
A squared plus B squared
equals be quiet and let me carry on speaking. So in that sense, bro, it's just you just got to be dynamic. I'm a primary school teacher, so I teach everything. Okay. So it's you have to kind of you have to change, you have to be dynamic, and you just get used to it.
Not many male primary school teachers. I haven't come across that many.
Yeah.
Actually, breaking down that glass ceiling.
Yeah, I mean, it was back in the days when I would speak to people. There was all this talk about, oh brother, what's the problem with the ummah? This is the problem. A half an hour, lecture, and then what's the solution? After you sift
when they're young.
After you sift through the impractical stuff, you get through the nitty gritty. It is get them when they're young. And what's the ideal age? It's under the age of 10. Yeah, when you look at the brain waves of a child. Delta, theta, all the way to alpha. Yeah, that alpha stops around 10. Yeah. By 10 it stops, and then it's difficult to get them.
And alpha waves,
yeah. So you get them when they're young. So I would suggest, I mean, if there are people that are thinking about careers, primary school is very important. Even those people that are doing tarbiyah of their children, homeschooling, very important with what's going on. So even if you don't teach in a primary school, be in such a position that you're able to at least do the basic teaching of your own kids, for God's sake. I mean, they're going to teach all sorts of things from year 2. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. It's going to start from next year. So that sort of stuff, I mean, it's coming whether we like it or not. And
what's your kind of way to, I don't want to say get around it, but how do you deal with that stuff if, you feel that there's a Ofsted is expecting you to teach about X, Y, Z and it's against your kind of...
I mean, at the moment, nothing's come in the syllabus that I'm teaching in year 5, so it's not. I mean, other teachers are kowtowing, so they come. I mean, again, they're not grounded very much, so they'll just say stuff just for the sake of it. But I mean,
it's a very interesting. It was good. It's timely. Joint imams and scholars statement about LGBT lessons in school. It will be out by the time this is probably edited and published, inshallah. So you can have a look at that. And a lot of over 100 imams all over the UK, different schools of thought, different backgrounds, alhamdulillah, came together and signed this thing. And essentially, it's not that Muslims are imposing their view on everyone else. It's just that it's essentially lakum dinukum waliya din. To use your way, you have your beliefs about what's an appropriate relationship and an inappropriate relationship, and we have our own beliefs and values. The problem is it's been presented in a very skewed way, as though the teachers are just masoom, just innocently just teaching kids facts, and the parents are coming or the Muslim kids are disagreeing for some kind of irrational purpose. No. But what you regard as an appropriate relationship is not the product of hard science. It's a product of so many interacting beliefs, values, cultural norms, philosophical convictions. And that's the kind of key of the crux of that statement. So I think that's something we need going forward. We need a kind of coherent, way to, empower Muslim teachers to have their messaging on point. Otherwise, unfortunately, what's been happening is...
Tell us something we don't know, bro. This has been talked to death in the last couple of months.
What's been happening is Muslims themselves are utilizing the language and the narratives on non-Muslims and presenting something that's forcing us into a position we don't need to be in. you know.
One of a
But
better.
I'm sure you can bring someone on to talk about that in more
We will.
detail.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
Have it
Jazakallah
on
khair.
in 2020 when it becomes statutory.
Jazakumullah khair. Zeeshan, Jazakumullah khair again for your time today. Actually, I know most of the videos we said before are quite funny, but I think it's quite important bringing the other side. And
You guys brought up some serious things.
no, I think it's important, bro. And I think one key thing I'm taking away from this is that the message of doing something, it doesn't have to be comedy. Alhamdulillah, we had Umer before as well. His thing was singing.
Ya Rabbi.
We're going to get him to crack a joke now, yeah? We got Umer to crack a joke. But it was good that, look, as long as you're doing something, you have that fikr and you have that connection with the hereafter and that connection of wanting to do something with the skills that Allah Azza wa Jal has given you, that's important. It doesn't mean that everyone has to be the next Zeeshan, right? It has to be the next Smile2Jannah, be that comedian.
His surname is Ali, not right. Carry on.
Ali, not right, yeah?
But you know what?
Do you understand? It's important that people have that.
I think that used to be a thing back in the days, but now it's so easy with the right. Everyone's got a smartphone. There's apps that you can literally record a podcast on a car journey. There's people that put GoPros on their motorcycle helmets. Just do dawah when doing Uber. Just there's so many dynamic ways to do it. You don't have to be the next Zeeshan, but Zeeshan isn't the next, Baba Ali. Like, I was inspired by certain people, but I'm me. Just like people will watch me and they'll say, yo, I can take that model and apply it to what I like doing. And that's the key. There's no kind of fixed way to do it. Yeah, I'd love people to do what I'm doing because I think there's a lot of potential in it, but I know there's so much talent within the ummah. Just the way you guys were, speaking amongst each other, there's a lot of banter that happens within Muslims. And I think comedy is very important medium that needs to be utilized and put out there, because sadly it stays within the four walls of our rooms and our homes, and people don't get to see it. In fact, a lot of comments that I see by non-Muslims is, this guy's all right.
Yeah.
You're a laugh, mate, but it's the other ones we got a problem with. It's those ones, mate. You don't believe in this, do you? Like, I never heard this before. And that's a problem. Like, why haven't they heard this before? It's because our people are either, depressed sitting at home thinking everyone hates us and there's nothing that we can do, or you got people compromising so much that the deen is not visible. It'll only come out like one tweet after every month or something. Yeah. So again,
so you're doing great work to kind of humanize Islamic fundamentalists, mashallah. It's about time extremists got a good, role model and good good
talking
face
about
in the media.
me, Dr. Zakir Naik, or
extremism is a badge of honor now for you guys, isn't it?
well, extremism is you know what? There's two extremes, bro. There's an extreme of people that do what they do, and the media puts them. But in fact, the extremism that the MI5 and these people talk about are people that aren't practicing. That a week before they carry out an attack, they're ordering a book called Islam for Dummies. They don't practice their religion enough, and that's an extreme that people hardly ever talk about. And I think that's extremism as well. And that's the extremism I'm trying to combat. The extremism of not having enough knowledge, not the other people, because they're not going to be on YouTube learning from Smile2Jannah. You know what I mean? They're going to be doing their own thing, and they need people to cater for them. But the people that I'm trying to cater for are people that are on technology, and there's a lot. It's so easy. If you have a personality, you have something at home, certain sisters at home, and having something that you can contribute to, it's very good for your mental health as well. If mashallah you have a nice home or something, a big kitchen, sisters are good at cooking, you know what, make a channel, narrate what you're cooking, and don't use music, and just start with salam alaikum and end with jazakallah khair. Teach people how to cook, give them little advice and have a little Q&A in the middle here and there. You can do that, bang, done. Certain people, mashallah, there's big YouTube channels where kids literally just play with toys, unboxing. You can do that. But the thing is, you guys might scoff at that.
I can't do that anymore.
No, you can't do that, because if you were playing with toys, then I'd be concerned.
No, I don't let my kids play with my toys.
Alhamdulillah.
So there's so many different ways. So don't think, again, I'm not here to advocate the typical forms of dawah. There's so many. You could literally have your kid there, he's just doing unboxing. You get people sending you toys, and you could just teach your kids certain manners and etiquettes, because kids don't have those sorts of manners.
Very
so
good,
there's so much potential.
MashaAllah.
So much. So yeah, don't limit it. Just make sure that you have a grounding, you're with scholars, you have people of knowledge, and yeah, just the world's your oyster.
Jazakallah khair. Well, Jazakallah khair, brothers and sisters, for watching. This was Islam Truancy podcast, Unscripted, with our guest Zeeshan Ali, aka from the, is it AKA, or you're not known as Smile2Jannah, but his channel is Smile2Jannah, having a grown-up serious discussion, mashallah.
Right.
So that's the one. Mashallah. Don't touch that again. I've been your co-host Salman Butt. This is my co-host Umer and Salman.
And Umar Sulaiman.
We're gonna go and beat him up now. If you like this podcast, give it a like
if
and a
you
share.
do like it, like flip and
If you didn't
you
like
got no
it,
standards.
if you didn't like it, it's because of this guy, wise guy here, who finally starts to tell jokes. If you give it a like and a share. If you don't like it, then go easy on us.
Put all the
write an angry comment.
Put all the abusive comments on there.
Write an angry comment. That'll help us with the algorithm. It'll help us with the algorithm. So,
Until next time.
I don't like your face. If you don't like it, what do you have to say about that? Give me a comment. No, that's going to be interpreted in a very negative way. Anyway, we got to go pray now. So, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
Unscripted.